Hello, this is Sharon Maxwell coming to you again with some healing videos. We have Chaplain Dave and Chaplain Cindy, who are a husband and wife team and have been chaplains for many years and have helped many people. And today's videos talk about the changes, the healings that they had of character, and they're just such a joyous expression of God's love and care for each of them. So without further ado, we'll get into the videos.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm a Christian Science chaplain, and I actually serve at a number of the state prisons around California. One prison I'd like to tell you about. I've been going in about 3 years now, and it was interesting because when I went in, I got a request to see an inmate at what's called EOP, or Enhanced Outpatient. So I'd like to tell you about the testimony he said he would like to share with you all. I knew that he was hearing impaired. He wore the typical vest that he had, and he told me that back in the 70s he had an accident. He actually told me that he had this hearing, the deafness in one ear. They had told him that was it, that was going to be with him. And so as we prayed through this, he said, you know, I can see that I can hear. God is speaking to me, and nothing can block that. I said, you're right. That's the fact. He started studying weekly the Christian Science Bible lesson, which is comprised of citations from the Bible, healings that went on during biblical times, and to follow also with citations from Science and Health, which kind of accentuate those Bible citations. It was a great exploratory time we had together. You know, at one point he said, I would love to be able to mix in general population. I'm in EOP, Enhanced Outpatient, and boy, it'd be great if I could mix with the other guys. I said, we're going there, we're getting there. Well, he came, it's been a number of months, came and he said, guess what? I went back into the medics and he said, they took my hearing aid away. I have perfect hearing in the ear that I was deaf in. And he said, that's a Christian Science healing, isn't it? I said, you bet it is. So we rejoiced together about that. And a couple weeks ago, I was all the way across the chapel, and I asked him to bring over a piece of literature. And I'm not a loud speaker, and he heard me, and so we rejoiced again together. And I said, you know, it's like a pair of shoes that are 4 sizes too small. It feels cramped, it doesn't fit you. And I said, you know what fits you is this spiritual journey to see how much God loves you and how he moves us forward. And we're going to rejoice in this healing and look for more in the future. The shoe that you're wearing now fits. And you know, unbeknownst to me, he had been praying about getting some new shoes. And he showed up a few weeks back with bright, shiny, white tennis shoes. And he said, see, the healing goes on. So I was so grateful. It's been so inspiring and humbling to see both him and these other inmates grow spiritually.
I want to tell you a story about an inmate that I met in my work. She had been in and out of prison several times, had been on the streets since she was about 10 years old. And she also had quite a drinking problem, was involved in drugs. And she also had fended for herself during the years that she was on the street, and so she was a fighter. She had been in a lot of altercations in prison, and she was well known by custody for her behavior. While she was in prison, She was heartbroken because her children would have nothing to do with her anymore. Her mother refused to be in communication with her. Her son had told her that when she was released from prison, he would not go back to living with her. So this was pretty devastating. She felt very alone. And I think this encouraged her to look to God with all her heart. She told me that she was at the end of her rope. She really didn't want to go on living. But it was in that moment that she felt God had been waiting for her to open her heart fully. Well, she started coming to the Christian Science services, and she'd never been a person of faith, but she saw there, she said, I know this is the truth. And she saw something there that could turn her life around. And so she started studying the Bible lesson and was very moved by finding that she was loved of God, that she had a purpose in life, that she had a future and a hope. And she wrote to me, there's a wonderful ending to this story, just a complete turnaround. She found that she was able to overcome her tendency toward violence. It took a lot of work and prayer, but the custody saw such a change in her that they actually recommended that she be released as they saw this transformation take place in her. When she went to her hearing, they actually provided letters of support. She said, I had a raging spirit from repeated failures and disappointments and losses of everybody and thing I had struggled to attain throughout my entire life. The struggle and loss was because it was all my own will. I had an arrogance misidentified as strength. Finally, broken in every way, facing 54 years in prison without faith, without family, and no more strength, I pleaded with God to take me. I wanted to die. I was truly alone. My children wouldn't speak to me. God needed my undivided attention. And guess what? God, my faithful Father, waited so long for that 100% surrender. He took me all right, but right into the folds of His mercy and grace. And every day is showing me the way of life, real life. God's will is my natural path, and now there is no struggle. Looking for and trusting in truth, God confirms that His strength is the only enduring strength there is. My spirit grows and thrives and rejoices in my newfound truth. God, love, joy, and harmony are the truth that is ever attractive and undeniable, contagious and powerful. Freedom from worries, disappointments, and struggles is true freedom. I am truly a child of God. I am brand new to life. The complete transformation I'm seeing in women around me that genuinely yield to God confirms and inspires the transformation that is going on with me. God has given us the ultimate example in Jesus Christ, and as I walk in gratitude and faith, as Jesus teaches, I am constantly and shockingly rewarded with a peace and joy I've never known. The wonderful conclusion is that she was released after serving a little over a year, and I've recently learned that when she was released, she was reconciled to her family, her daughter, her son, her mother, and they saw the real change that had been made in her life. It's just so wonderful to see what God can do in people's lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the videos as much as I did. They're so inspiring and encouraging because the blessing is far beyond the individual that had the healing. As you heard in these, it affects the whole family. And that affects a lot more people than the family. And so until next time, this is Sharon Maxwell.
Substance.